Y'all, we've been playing around today. If you don't like any of these changes, change them around as much as you want to. It doesn't really matter. But we just tried to clean up the inside of the aircraft with all the modules that were laying around, like that med roll and those modules. So we took the saddlebags off the monitor and we put all those supplies in the blue bag.
So on the top, you have a set of the Edwards invasive cables. You have your 12-lead cables. There's pediatric reference cards. In this, you have an arm board, pediatric electrodes, all the pediatric BP cuffs, roll of monitor paper. You have your IO drill. You have one of each 3 sizes of needles. There's a stabilizer. And then in this, you have flushes, syringes, IV catheters. There's a Y pigtail, 2 start kits with INTs, adult electrodes, 2 disposable pulse oxes. You also have the ear probe in there, and there's pediatric and adult end-tidal adapters in there. Pediatric adult defib pads, the defib cable, and then this you have adult BP pad or adult BP cuffs, little extra hoses. You have your Epi, sodium bicarb, and lidocaine, and Narcan, Bristol-Jets. And then here is your first line cardiac drugs. Epi ampules are here.
All our ACLS meds.
Yep, everything's there.
Made some labels in case you make an Epi drip 1 to 1,000 or 1 to 10,000 with what you mix it in and what the dose range is when you run it on the pump. And that's our blue bag. We took the Buddy Light out of it as well as the fluids that were in there. And we moved some stuff around. So this is the first in jump bag. In here we have the RSI kit, the CMAC, an empty pouch, which I guess we could put something in later if we wanted to, a PD bag, BVM with adult mask and a PD mask and PEEP valve in it. We tried to keep all the trauma stuff together. We have a pelvic binder, 2 tourniquets, some rolls of bandage, trauma shears, your C-locks over here, petroleum gauze, decompression needles, and then your ABD bandages and just gauze in here. On this side, it stayed the same. It's still your adjunct airway stuff, nasal cannulas, non-rebreathers, neb stuff. This is where we put the splint and a roll of this garbage here. I keep forgetting what it's called, but it's there in case you need it. This stayed in the bag, same place it's always been. So that's that bag. It kind of weighs the same. It might be slightly more, I don't know, but marginally different.
Maybe 3 or 4 pounds.
But we wanted to keep all the trauma stuff together instead of having that stuff right there split into the blue bag. So this over here, we don't have to keep. It was just a bag I had laying around and I was getting tired of using that garbage ass med roll. So we have in this side, 1 Buddy Light with tubing and cartridge. The other Buddy Light with tubing is here. And the Buddy Light and cartridge is in this fanny pack that we borrowed from Mullinax's Club Clothes. Back to the bag here. We have 2 bags there's a bag of normal saline 250, 2 bags of that, a bag of 250 D5W, and 2 100 bags so that you can mix drugs with. I'll organize it a little bit better a little later. In this flap, we've got your infusion chart, 2 drip sets, a sapphire set, and this bag, should you ever need it. And then some of this reference stuff that was in the med roll, ACLS cardiac stuff. It was in the med roll. I don't know if anybody ever looked at it, but we stuffed it in here. We put the meds in these trays. This is a cardiac and blood pressure tray. Labeled all the meds, Neo, hydralazine, metoprolol, labetalol, dobutamine, levo, nitro, dopamine, cardine, cardizem, and aspirin. And we put some labels in here so that if you haven't mixed a drug in a while, like dobutamine, just pull out the label with it. It says dobutamine 250 milligrams in 250 of normal saline, and run it at 5 to 20 mics per kg per minute. Did the same with the labels for the Levo, dopamine, and I think that's it as far as drip references on labels. And we have our trauma and respiratory stuff. We've got Ancef, calcium, TXA. I made labels in there for TXA for the bolus, 1 gram and 100 over 10 minutes, or set the pump to 600 an hour. And then 1 gram and 500, set the pump at 60 mLs an hour. And then you got your nebs. And then OB miscellaneous, we've got our MAG, Pitocin, Decadron, Reglan, Keppra, Terbutaline, and Benadryl, and then some extra dividers in case we want to reorganize the stuff. But that's the basics of how we reorganize stuff today. It's not perfect, but it is what it is. Sorry. Here is in this side pouch, 1 liter of lactated ringers, 1 liter of normal saline. In this top pouch, we've got D5 here, D10 in this pouch, and up in here we have 3% saline and the D5 normal saline for pediatric maintenance fluids. Just try to organize our fluids a little bit better rather than having them in those modules. That we did the best we could with what we had, and get rid of that med roll. We got rid of those 2 black pouches, and we put the IV and IO stuff in the blue bag that Molly showed you. And that's the adult BVM that we got rid of. Hopefully that works for you guys. If you don't like it, that's cool, no big deal. We can change stuff. The restraints that were in the jump bag, we're just putting them in the door of the aircraft or somewhere in a pouch inside. We took the OG tubes that were out of this jump bag side pouch and put them in the RSI kit. There's a 8 French and a 14 French in there, and the rest of the OG tubes are on the aft wall of the aircraft. There was like 3 or 4, well, there was all those OG tubes in there. And we took out the isolation stethoscope. Anyway, hope that works for you guys.